Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Can somebody confirm that you can see and hear me, please? Not going to be on too long today, probably about a half hour to 45 minutes. A little heads up. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's get started. Let's do pick a number to start. So pick a number 1 or 2. Pick a number 1 or 2. If you picked number 1, as you release things not meant for you, you will be brought new ones that better align with your magic. And if you pick number 2, expect little from others and expect a lot from yourself. All right, let's get started. Was the weight loss, hair loss, and depression I suffered in 2020 due to psychic attack or past life clearing? A mix of both. This would be the psychic attack on your third eye, or attack to distract you away from a piece of your purpose by a community. And then this would be the past life element, like completing lessons from a past life and then clearing upon release. So almost like the psychic attacks were the leftover lessons from a past life. So it's kind of both. The psychic attacks allowed you to complete lessons from a past life. Why didn't the phone call I needed to have go the way I planned and ended with them putting the phone down? It feels like it's not you, it's them. This is like a one-way energy. This is a selfish energy. This is sadness. And then this is, I'm not getting what I wanted. So it feels almost like the other person wanted you to appease them or drop your needs, desires, or thoughts and just piggyback off of theirs. And it feels like they have something going on, and essentially we're projecting that as being your problem and didn't feel like dealing with it any further because they had kind of a selfish mindset here. So it's not really anything you could, almost like I'm saying, no matter how you went about the conversation, they weren't going to hold space to hear you because of something they're going through that's making them not even be able to really pick up on what you're saying. Will my blood test for the baby come back that everything is okay? Yes. But there may be like So everything's going to be okay, but there may be news like, oh, there's a little too much of this or not enough of this that we're picking up on. So there may be like a need to do a second test to see if whatever that is gets to the appropriate level. But I am seeing if there is anything like that, then the retest will be positive. So yes, everything turns out okay, but there may be like one additional step needed. Moved to Texas 9 years ago, but long to live by the ocean. Do you see that in my future? It's possible if you choose to take action in that direction, but it feels like right now that's not something that's in a priority for you to work on. If it does happen, it feels like it's going to be a little bit. It's going to take some time to get there, but it is possible. I don't necessarily see it right now, the moon, as I split the deck. I don't necessarily see it right now, but it's not to say it's not possible with the proper like steps and planning. Why am I waking up between 3 and 4 every morning? It's been like this for a few weeks now. Almost like your spirit team waking you up from someone coming into your dream state, getting past the barriers to try and test your perception on something. I guess you could call them psychic attacks, or like someone abusing their ability to infiltrate your dream state, and almost like your spirit team is waking you up so that that doesn't happen, is what this looks like. Are there any messages from my spirit guides? Oh, look at that. Family of light, that's your spirit guides. Temperance would be them coming down to give you the message. You're going to be presented with a different option to shift directions more in your favor. It's almost like you hit a brick wall and you're frustrated, but you're going to be presented with a redirection. It feels like in a very direct way. Almost like a person on earth helps give you a message from your spirit team that helps you figure out which direction to head. Will my husband's new job work out financially for us? Yes, but it's going to take a minute to get comfortable or to feel secure. There is money and fulfillment coming in here, but it almost feels like it's not immediate. Almost like at first you're okay, and then there's some kind of increase that really helps. It's like coming in steps or segments, but yes, it is gonna be good for you. Just not immediately or not quickly. Or that might not be money, that might be security, like allowing him time to feel comfortable and secure. But it is coming. It is coming in a good direction. Who are my spirit guides, and do they have any messages for me? There's something that you started investing your time or energy into, and it's almost like you put it down or paused it, and there's guidance to pick it back up here, because it's almost like you were on to something, or you were about to explore or experience something that is like a key. Almost like you talked yourself out of exploring some kind of path, and they want you to pick that back up. I'm getting strong female guide energy here. So it feels like something tied to like emotions and creativity. But in the sense of like learning something new or exploring something new. If I cut cords with your hypnotherapy, will I stop my ex returning or unfinished karma? And will this speed up the timeline for my true soulmate? You won't need to experience, how do I put this? It will help you see that you don't need any other lessons provided by that person. So your choice to cut the cord is your choice to say, whatever it is that you could offer me lesson wise is not going to actually help me evolve because I've been there and I've experienced all this. So it feels like maybe not necessarily speed it up, but less obstacles in the way of tests that you don't necessarily need to retake in terms of relationships. Is the acupuncturist I started seeing going to be able to help me with my repressed memories, especially with what my father did to block me? You're learning how to, or reprogramming your mind to learn how to get the active mind out of the way so that you can access, see the light inside of the head there, getting that active mind out of the way so that you're not questioning if they're thoughts or if they're memories or if they're down. Like it's like you'll be confident in what you're receiving when you get these downloads, and you're setting the intention and laying the foundation to get them. So it does feel like that's going to be very helpful. Did me and my son Adam share a past life? Yes, but he wasn't your son in a past life. Yeah, not your son in a past life. I knew it. I just said in my head, one of them was the boss of the other, and I got Ace of Pentacles. It feels like we had Ten of Pentacles reversed, so not family, some kind of career or life purpose connected you. I feel I will channel Jesus as I feel him around me a lot. If so, in what way or to what kind of audience? An audience of those who need to love themselves again so they can reestablish that connection. Those who feel blocked, stagnant, or stuck. So you're looking for an audience of people who need the messages of how to connect with themselves again so that they can reconnect with the divine. Almost like channeling messages that help people embrace, even though they've made decisions or been through certain things, doesn't make them broken, doesn't make them unlovable by Jesus. That's kind of the energy of what I'm getting. Like starting with helping people reconnect to themselves so that they can, like, I guess you'd say, like, not forcing or pushing coming to Jesus, but showing that there's an opportunity or a door that's open if they so choose, but first to reconnect with the broken pieces of themselves. My daughter-in-law doesn't like me talking to my sons. He passed away children because they are young, and she finds my calls speak to the girls annoying. She doesn't want to address the fact that it's like she made a judgment one time about something, and now she bases every other conversation off of that one judgment that it feels like she made when she was like in a bad mood or having a hard moment. So almost like everything was kind of fine, and then one day she saw it as annoying, and now she can't see it as any other way. It's like she's kind of grouped in. I almost feel like it's more of one time after a conversation that you had with them, they misbehaved or they acted up or they did something that irritated her. And it's like associated with that. It doesn't even feel like it's you. It feels like it was something that happened after a phone call that she's basing every other interaction like, oh, that's just going to happen again, when that's not the case. It feels like she's running from her pain still, and she's finding any way to export that to being someone else's problem other than hers. Any messages about this upcoming energy release? You have 10 and 10, one upright, one reverse, 6 of cups in the middle. You're specifically releasing a pain that you've held on for a long time here, a cycle that it's been like you've worked to release it, and then there's been residue that kind of rebuilds. So this is going to feel almost like if you empty out a cup and you've emptied out this cup before, but now you have to go in and scrub the cup so there's no other residue that can regrow. So it's gonna feel a little bit like a scraping out, or like a deep cleanse that may be like sandpaper. Like it's gonna feel like emotional sandpaper, but this too shall pass. Like let yourself know that it's going to pass, and that it feels the way it does because you're releasing something that you've held on to for a long time. The Tower. So it is going to be, it feels like that sand, but look at the butterflies. So the tower is falling, but there's also butterflies. So it's going to feel like sandpaper, but then you're building an emotional castle that you can reside in. So it's necessary hard work, I guess you could say. My son is a freshman in college and wants to be an accountant. He's got such an amazing personality. I can't see it. Is he on the right path? He's blocking out the social part of him that could actually take him further. It feels like he's eventually going to see that, though. He's eventually going to be desiring fulfillment or excitement, and may try and switch directions here. But it feels like he's blocking out the part of his personality that is that social element that could actually take him further than what he's doing right now. Not that it won't be a good path temporarily, but it does feel like he's eventually going to recognize there's something else that he desires in some way. Will my finances improve much this year with the beginning of my online presence and the launch of my website? So you're working on it. You're going there. What is this month? February 9, 10, 11. You may see a pickup towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. It feels like it's going to take a minute here. And there's something that's going to need to be reevaluated, almost like you have to get started and then pivot. So you get started, and then once you pivot, you're then heading towards, I almost want to say you have to get started and then allow it to get to the point where it pivots. And then from that pivot, it's about 9 months to a year before you start to see real progress. Gradual until then. And it feels like either getting inspiration from others or coaching or something about collaboration can help almost like speed up the process. So it's going to take a minute, but you will get there. Should I look at the new house listing that came out today with 2 horses? Would I be in over my head? Something in your planning or strategy would have to be reevaluated if you did decide to do that. It's going to be stretching it. But it feels like if you go in with the right strategy, it could be manageable, but it also is going to require I almost want to say like having a rainy day fund or having something like just in case. There may be moments where it's close. So it's not necessarily something you'll be in over your head, but you'll be like to here for a little while. So needing to make sure that if there's a speed bump, the water doesn't go up above your head. So it's going to be close is what I'm saying. Possible, but needing to strategize. What karmic lesson are me and my husband meant to learn? Perfect health and the law of action. So listening to divine guidance within your body and getting out of your comfort zone. Learning to communicate more openly about things that are bothering you or things that you're holding back in order to bring change to what previously wasn't all the way healed. I almost want to say like morphing in to become truly one where there's nothing really held back. Because you can see deeper in one another than you can see in yourselves. And there's some benefit to the spiritual element of that. Has past trauma caused me to notice I'm an empath? Yes, past trauma, but more in doing it by yourself, more in like what really made you recognize was being pushed out of the main group or having to handle things without support, or even straight up manipulation to try and prevent you from healing. That's really what allowed you to see you weren't approaching situations in the same way that others who don't have empathy, like you started to really see, even though I'm hurting, even though I'm beat down, I still have empathy. And they didn't have empathy even when they were on top. So there's a bit of seeing how you were different from others through trauma that allowed you to see that in yourself. Is the friend D who unalived himself at peace now? He's with someone that he is happy to be with. He's definitely looking down on those that he was close to and loved. There's a sense of freedom. There's a sense of I'm not stuck anymore. I don't feel trapped anymore. A strength. I am at peace because I've transformed away from my pain. See how there's the infinity symbol being held up above the head there? It's like, how do I word this? Seeing pain from a different perspective that finally allows him to grow from the pain instead of being like immersed in it. Like he appreciates the pain now because he's separate from it and can see how he was meant to learn and grow from it. Tears cleanse the soul, and there's something about either TV, phone, something glitching out that either has happened or will happen to remind you of him. And although you may not understand it now, everything happens for a reason. Never Alone by Jim Brickman is the song. Oops. Does my mom have a message for me? You're not giving yourself enough credit. You didn't take what's that saying? You took the path less traveled. You chose, your soul chose certain experiences to evolve. So don't look at them as punishments or as if it's something that is being paid to you negatively. This is your soul wanted to evolve in a very ascended high way. So certain challenges that you are overcoming are allowing you to evolve. So looking at it in that way instead of you were given this mountain to show that it can be moved. Yeah, look at that upside down mountain. People only see what's above the ground of the glacier, not realizing that you're going through all this stuff underneath. So let yourself just accept yourself for how you are in each moment, knowing that you know you're doing your best and she knows you're doing the best and you're making more progress than you're giving yourself credit for. I feel happy and healthy and I'm in my own personal paradise. Echo by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I feel like she's saying she's agreeing with what I just said. Also, let yourself have fun. Do something fun. Or buy yourself flowers. I don't know which one it is. It might be both. Have fun or buy yourself flowers. Maybe buying flowers is fun. Thank you, Tammy. Why do my 10 siblings treat me differently and make me feel like an outsider? I feel like this has been since childhood, or it's been for at least a long time. you have very quick comebacks, or your mind, it's like almost like intellectually they all feel kind of equal to one another, but then they feel like they can't treat you the same way that they treat one another, because there's a feeling of intellectual quickness. Yeah, that's you. Intellectual quickness. Almost like you see through their BS. It feels like you might not realize it, but you read their energy very well. And it's like they feel seen by you and they don't want to feel seen with one another. It's like they allow that part of them that doesn't want to feel seen, they allow it to disappear. They all mirror one another while you are like, I see you, and they don't want that. They want to delay that. Not even necessarily that they're hiding anything per se, but more of like almost like to one another, they are each other's comfort zone, and then you require the light to be on. And that's hard for them. Messages from my guides that are for my greatest good now. There's so much going out and not enough coming in. Pouring into yourself, but it feels like pouring into yourself in like an intellectual, emotional way. So, how do I word this? Finding a different method of processing frustrations or anxiety. It feels like that's kind of getting the best of you at times right now. And you're being guided to find a different method of handling. That's more than I was trying to get. A different method of handling those things. Growth through transmuting energy, but needing to be present in the moment to do so. So getting rid of any anxiety or managing that kind of energy in a different way so you can be more present, so you can transmute certain energy that you're sitting with. My dad turns 94 in April. How much time do I have left with him? Do we have a timing for the dad who turns 94? Is there at least a year left with him? About a year left? Under a year left? Is something up in the air right now, health-wise? It feels like something is going to arise within the next year. Yeah, but then there's healing. Something within the next year is going to need to be drastically changed. Depending on how he takes to that change will kind of determine the timeline. Right now, I'm kind of getting between around a year to around 3 years is the time frame that I'm getting. But there's something depending on something that arises health-wise that comes up within the next year that is going to need external support for, like something outside of his immediate control, if that makes sense. Did I receive a significant download of information this morning from my friend? Yes. Yes, I couldn't be there to talk to you in person, so I found a way to get it to you that you would trust. It feels like there were breadcrumbs leading up to this message, and then you finally got the full message, almost like little bits here and there, if you look backwards, that were preparing you to understand the message when it did come through. Is James R. and I supposed to come together in a more significant way in this lifetime? So it feels like what is significant is the either push and pull between the two of you, or the lessons that unfold in the trying to come together or deciding what to do together. It feels like there is some kind of karma that the two of you have together, but it feels more like a lesson. A lesson in learning more about yourself through what's being reflected back to you or not being reflected back to you from the other person. Are they supposed to come together in a more significant way in this lifetime? It's not going to be what you are expecting or thinking it is, but there is some kind of coming together. But just not in the direction that you're thinking. It's more in like the process, the buildup, and the getting to know yourself through what is unfolding during the time frame of this, if that makes sense. So it feels in a more significant way, yes, but maybe not the way that you're thinking. There's major lessons that you're going to learn from the role of one another in each other's lives, but it's not going to necessarily unfold the way that you're expecting. Right choice for me to go away for 12 weeks. So yes and no. Yes, if you're not going into it with the mindset that you're running from something that's just going to be there when you get back. But if you are going into it with the mindset of running from something, then you may not get out of it what you need to get out of it. But it feels like it has a lot to do with the mindset and the reasoning for your choice. So would it be beneficial? Yes, but not if your mind is standing in the way by feeling like you're running from something that's just going to be there when you return, if that makes sense. Did my husband meet my mother-in-law when she passed this week? I was feeling hopeful that they are together. It feels like there was a bit of almost like a lengthy life review that she has gone through. They are together. This is like one meeting the other here, but it feels as though, how do I put this? Like they're together and she's in an upgraded sense because she's learned a lot through the life review about how to unpeel away certain layers of not self. So to answer your question, yes, they're together, but it's almost like she's a whole new version of herself that's healed and aligned. The pieces that were blocking her from herself have now been removed. So they're together, but in a sense of like, it almost feels like she's a new person, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense. I am at peace. I feel no pain. I am filled with nothing but love and light. And the earth is our school of lessons. I'm glad I got to experience so many wonderful things. Yeah, the life review. After I finish the life review, then I fly. But I come out of it like a new person with different healing and upgrades. I'm a Believer by the Monkees is the song. Oh, then I saw her face. So yeah, they're together. That's a confirmation. The Chariot on the bottom of the deck, two opposing forces working together. Was Uncle Gary my dad in a past life? No, I think Uncle Gary was Uncle Gary in a past life too. There was definitely a connection since childhood in the past lifetime, but I'm not getting dad energy. I'm getting maybe grandpa energy, honestly. Either uncle again or grandpa. There definitely is a connection. There was from childhood, but I'm not getting dad energy. But I am getting someone who played a family role since you were a child in a past lifetime. This is the light worker, the light seers deck. This is the pocket version or the tin can pocket version of it. There's also a bigger version of it. Was my father-in-law's death self-inflicted? I truly feel it. Self-inflicted. Kim, what caused the forward motion? Feeling like there was no foundation to build on or nowhere to turn to, and not really wanting to be a burden to other people. It does look to me like it was. A lot of confusion, a lot of not sure what to do. See how he's looking down on this card? This is community. I don't know where to turn to. I'm confused of who to talk to. Do I have a spiritual gift? The angel numbers are back. 11, 11, and 3, 3, 3. You manifest it, calling in your gifts, increasing from healing. And now you just have to learn how they work. So you may have put out the intention to increase your gifts, or whatever it is that you're trying to manifest requires or would be helped by your gifts being increased. See how the lights are off here, but she's holding them and she's reading the book. She's learning how to turn the light on in a way that she can understand. You healed something in terms of, what is that called? Self-limiting beliefs. And that manifested in little signs showing you, hey, you're connected, lean into this if you do choose to. So yes. 0606, commitment. So dedicating yourself to diving into it more will increase it more. Is there an error I'm making on my side? Not besides second guessing yourself, or I almost want to word it like talking yourself out of your greatness, or talking yourself down from your talents and abilities. Like there's something there that's meant to be accessed more, but you're doubting yourself and holding yourself back. So not necessarily that you're making an error, just needing to learn more about what it is that you have to offer so you feel more confident offering it. And that is tied into self-love here. Because there's something big or something important that you being in your essence of your authenticity brings out and brings to the light of day, but it requires self-love and clarity about what you're bringing to the table. So just kind of increasing confidence there, working on self-concept, self-worth. I'm seeing like the motivational speeches on TikTok, like motivational videos, like start there, just kind of pouring that positive energy into yourself. Was my brother's health issues recently related to holding? Emotional. Why is this crooked? Emotional blockages or spiritual blockages, almost like I'm leaving this here and I'm walking away and I'm not paying attention to it. So it builds up, builds up, builds up. I would say more repressed feelings and emotions more than stress, but then the stress increases the intensity of what was already being held down. Not trusting himself to release certain things or talk about certain things made him kind of lose control over the levels of stress that made the levels of stress rise to an imbalance where there was some kind of physical manifestation of what essentially is, if you think of like a cup, right? The cup was filled like halfway with repressed emotions, and then he poured onto it more than a half a cup of stress. So it was overflowing, and that presented as physical ailments caused by the repressed. Needing to get clarity about what he's holding back emotionally, because now it has to be done in reverse. Healing the emotions will help to decrease the stress, will help to decrease the physical representation of the emotional spiritual blockage. Is Ben coming into my circle as more than a friend? I'm not necessarily seeing that right now, or I'm seeing if that does happen, it may not be what's best for you. It may hold you back and throw you off balance. I almost feel like subconsciously your brain is saying, if this person comes in as more than a friend, it means I'm worthy. It means that I'm desired. It means that I'm being read the way that I want to be. It's become more about that, it feels like, than the actual connection. So it's switching the focus back onto what am I meant to learn from this? It feels not necessarily like more than a friend right now. Needing to kind of look at it from a different perspective and say, what am I putting on this decision? What am I basing my self-worth off of how this person feels about me? Because that is going to push the person away instead of drawing them in, if that makes sense. Gonna stay for about 10 more minutes. And I lost my place. Uh-oh. What happened to me in my past life? It feels as though what I'm picking up on is a mother wound that caused you to run into the arms of someone who wasn't the best for you. And the lesson here was to discover who you truly are and that you don't need other people to define you. It feels as though it almost feels like a situation where you wanted to get out of your immediate family's house so bad that you went with someone who was not having your best interest, and you ended up having to repeat the same lessons through a different person that you would have at home. It feels as though you were kind of tossed around a lot. And it feels like there's some residue from a mother wound or like a lover's wound that replayed in this lifetime from that experience. What are my spiritual gifts and when will I really start to develop them? So it feels like really it's tied into your creativity. It feels like your ability to channel really comes directly like through your crown chakra. So it's like an inner knowing, an inner feeling, a gut reaction. It feels like that is dependent on inner child healing or childhood trauma healing and allowing yourself to almost like how do I word this? You opening up your gifts comes from you just interacting with other people and recognizing that your gifts are already present. So like you talk to someone and you're having a conversation and you think back on it and you're like, oh, how did I know that? Or I felt this at this time and then they said this. It already exists. It's just you witnessing how it is existing, and you'll be able to witness that more with that inner child or childhood healing. So essentially inner knowing, gut feeling, that can develop to inner seeing or hearing, but you're starting with just that inner knowing and that gut feeling, which already exists. You just need to kind of witness it in yourself and ask for clarifications like, I got this feeling, and then go to a song or ask for a sign from your guides. Am I reading this correctly? Or even you could use tarot or other cards, but it's just confirming what's already there by starting to focus on asking for the confirmations of inner knowing and inner feeling. Mm-hmm. Oh, I did that one. Will my husband and I ever be intimate? It feels like one of you, I think him, is busybodying himself away from the root cause of what is blocking the intimacy. It feels like physical intimacy is being blocked because of an underlying emotional avoidance to something that he isn't sure how to face. Almost like you see him, and right now there's something that is almost like more intense than he wants to deal with, so he's burying it, but it doesn't feel like that has anything to do with the two of you. It's like something that was unresolved from the past is like an itch that he can't scratch right now, and he's trying to avoid facing that. And you see him, especially in intimate settings, so he's trying to avoid that because he doesn't want you to see, and not like hiding something, more like I'm hiding a wound from myself. And if you see it, that means I have to see it. So it depends on really when he's going to be able to face that underlying wound. Yeah, the Hermit in reverse. I'm avoiding looking internally because I don't want to face it. I would say it's going to be at least a year. And kind of like being able to kind of coax him into recognizing or admitting that he has something that needs to be faced emotionally, because it doesn't feel like it's a you problem. It feels like it's a oh crap, this emotion is coming back up. I don't want to deal with that, and I don't want to deal with you, because if you see it, then it means it's there, if that makes sense. Will my husband be promoted to DM of Chili's one day? I used to work at Chili's. Transitioning into calmer waters, celebration, community, restoring the balance. It feels like somebody has to leave in order for that to happen. I guess whoever the DM currently is. Almost like it's not like they will get promoted and then he'll take their spot. It's like they have to leave and then he gets, but I do see it coming eventually. I think it's going to be a little bit though. Who are my spirit guides and do they have a message for me? Yes, they have a message for you. Oh, King, King, King. Huh. I think you have a masculine spirit guide. You're not seeing the value that you could bring into a certain project or habit change or hobby. Like there's something that you have that if you devoted yourself to a certain path, you'd surprise yourself. But there needs to be a flow in emotions so that you can see your value clearly and be able to devote yourself to this. It feels like this is important. Oh, it feels like it's something that could also, like, look, finances in reverse, and then this is you taking back through the heart chakra your ability to profit off of your value. Profit off of your value. That feels like that's the whole message. There's something that you could be doing to profit off of your value, but you need to emotionally create flow or create flow in your emotions so that you can see the value that you could be profiting off of, if that makes sense. All I Know So Far by Pink. I kept hearing it pick a song. Where did I just go? Doing your hypnosis sessions, and I feel like I'm either doing them wrong or don't know how to meditate properly. I'm actually taking it in. It feels like needing to set the scene differently. Are you taking any of it in? Yes. It feels like you're right now creating the foundation, almost like you are right now in the stage where you're convincing your mind that things can change through the pathway of reprogramming your psyche. There's a need to change a strategy, though, when it comes to setting the scene or the foundation. So that can be, if you're doing it inside, maybe try it outside. Or if you are not using headphones, use headphones. If you're not blocking your eyes, try to use like a sleep mask. It's just kind of, you're convincing your psyche that these suggestions are able to create changes. And the more you can convince your physical body, the more you can convince your psyche, if that makes sense. Also, another thing that may help, if you're finding that closing your eyes isn't really allowing you to focus in, you can watch, I don't know what you'd call it, but look up like meditation visuals where it's just like the screen moving around and stuff like that. That's relaxing. Try watching that to focus in, and then close your eyes instead when you feel ready, instead of just closing your eyes. Sometimes when we go and we're not used to stopping our active brain, and then we all of a sudden are in the darkness putting it on pause, it can feel a little overwhelming, and then we're overthinking it. So distract your active mind by watching something that isn't like, not like a TV program, like the computer moving around with different shapes and meditative visuals. What is going on with my granddaughter? She's really angry all the time. It feels like it's a call for attention, a cry for attention. Almost like, I don't want to say a call for attention, like a call for help. Like, if I show how I'm feeling without expressing it, but I just demonstrate actions that would help people understand that I'm having an issue, maybe they'll tell me what issue I'm having and solve it for me. It feels like she has feelings that she doesn't know how to identify. So she's just trying to show it instead of explain it, because she doesn't know how to explain it. It feels as though, it almost feels like there's some shadow wound that's really causing her to want to disconnect from the essence of who she is. Almost like her brain is trying to convince her that she needs to become someone else. And she's trying to fight against it, but it's making her sad. And she doesn't know how to explain that. So she's just acting angry instead of allowing herself to feel the emotions that she's feeling. Is there a message from my grandmother? Yes. Don't continue to go with the flow if the flow is not serving you. Allow yourself to create change. See how the key is there, but her head is down, so she can't see that she could get out of this room. There's something that you could alleviate the stress on in your life by taking a different direction. It's like she's saying she wants you to feel the peace that you may be subconsciously blocking out some way. Everything happens for a reason. Trust the divine plan. And I am so much better now. Under the Boardwalk by the Drifters. And that's all by Genesis. Under the boardwalk. So under the boardwalk would be like a beach, like you're on the side of a beach. You're right there. You're very close to some kind of change that would help calmness come to your mind. Uh-oh. My husband of 24 years just passed from a short 6-month battle with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Has he found peace? I'm free from the toxicity of the cancer. So this would be the cancer. This would be I stepped through the portal and I'm free. He doesn't want his passing to burden you. It's almost like he's saying, I feel like it was short but intense. And there's a feeling of, I feel like you are thinking a lot about what it must have felt like for him and if he was scared and all of that. And it, from his perspective, it happened more quickly, right? So almost like a train that goes through this tunnel. It's like a train is going, it doesn't expect to see a tunnel, and then the train goes through this dark tunnel, and then before you know it, you're on the other side of the tunnel. He doesn't want it to prolongingly hold you back from living your life. It's like he's saying, you have a lot of fears about what he must have been thinking and feeling, and if you did enough to show him how much you love him, and he's like, you did. Like, everything from his perspective felt very quick, not in a bad way, but like he's free now. He wants you to experience that feeling of freedom as well, if that makes sense. Oh, there's no such thing as death. I am not dead. That's, he said what he said. He's still there with you. And I Can See Clearly Now by Johnny Nash is the song. Oh, and Fight Song. That one's for you. Fight Song. He wants you to keep fighting for happiness. Don't feel like you're leaving him behind by being happy, because he's there with you with your happiness. Husband's health, daughter's safety. Husband's health, it feels like going to now or eventually need support or a second opinion or something in order to get progress where progress felt blocked. But it does feel like there's a problem and then a solution for the problem because of support or a second opinion or something from the outside looking in. Daughter's safety. It feels like there's something or someone around her that she needs to maybe learn the hard way to walk away from, because it's pulling her out of being grounded. This can be safety and security as well. So it feels like there is something a little bit jeopardizing either emotional, mental, or some kind of security in her life. So a change that is needed. writing my traumas the right avenue for therapy? It will help you trust yourself again by releasing what was not your burden to carry. It'll help you kind of identify in what ways other people projected their own lack of fulfillment onto you and made it your problem. And also it feels like kind of establishing channeling or like activating the third eye to be able to visualize how to heal further. So yes. I also feel like there's something else though that would help. Like writing, and then also like interacting with your own self, like looking at yourself and answering certain questions that may need deeper evaluation than just writing. Like writing is one thing, but hearing yourself talk about it or seeing yourself talk about it brings an additional depth, but not for everything, just for certain pieces of what you're writing about. Message from my paternal grandmother. I'm going to do about 5 more. There's a pain that you are holding on to, or it feels like a pain, a wound. It needs to be witnessed to be transmuted. Like you need to witness your own pain. You need to work through that energy because there's something that you're meant to do upon the healing of it. Like the healing of what was repressed gives you a key to use to a forward path or a forward progress. Yeah, look, it's like heart chakra healing through energy clearing, and then you get, this card represents the Holy Grail. So in your wound, there is a key that propels you forward. And that's what she wants to see for you because it would bring about fulfillment. I am standing right next to you, and the bond we share is unbreakable and unforgettable. I'll Follow the Sun by the Beatles is the song. I have an end of year review for work shortly. How will it go? Almost like there's something that you're hoping comes from it that may not come from it right now, but it's not going to be a negative review. So I don't know if it's maybe like you're hoping for a promotion or you're hoping for different responsibilities or something. It's like that doesn't happen yet, but this is setting the way for something to unfold. I almost want to say the next review is what brings you forward progress in something that you're hoping for, but this review goes positively, if that makes sense. This deck, yeah, let me show you the box. That's it. It's a tin can one on Amazon. I finally removed the vow imprint that has been on my soul, and am I ready to move? Independence, planting seeds that will later sprout, being properly protected. This would be the removal of the vow. So yes and yes. Was my purpose to break a curse on my family? Truth. So your purpose first was to acknowledge, locate, or identify that it even existed, because either others didn't believe it or disregarded it or something like that. So you're the first to see it to be able to break it. Feels like they didn't know what to look for, didn't know how, or didn't believe in that kind of thing, but that is the case here. Bringing justice to what was imbalanced by getting clarity and building the foundation that the others weren't able to figure out how to do. Bigger Than by Justin Gesso. I want a life that's bigger than. So you had a bigger mission than what your family had. My husband is skeptical of spirits communication. Is it a message or password? Okay. 'Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye. If he thinks back to a certain experience in the past, there was a spiritual message that came through for him that actually already played out. And that was setting the scene for his loved ones to later be able to communicate with him. Like there is an example of it in some way in his past. A seashell and a peace sign are the passwords. Was that a yin yang? And I said peace sign. It's a yin yang. I lost my place. I'm going to do about 2 more if I can find where I was. Question for my sister-in-law who lost her brother in 2015. No doubt he was murdered, but law enforcement didn't do anything. It feels like they painted a certain narrative of him and ran with that. Like they didn't actually look for the truth. They looked for what aligned with the narrative that they created from the beginning of the investigation. 2015. I do believe that you're right, but I also feel like I'm almost getting the energy of you could hire a private investigator, but it feels like anything looking into the investigation you'd be blocked out of. It feels like this would be a tall task to get justice for. Not that it's not possible, but it feels like what happened on the investigative side was that they said, okay, this must be what happened. Let's find everything that fits that. There is a way to figure out more, but it feels like needing to really call in someone who would be able to kind of figure out how it was that they were able to pick a narrative and then find things to support it instead of the other way around, if that makes sense. 8 of Wands was on the bottom of the deck. It feels like there's someone you could talk to that would be able to look at it in a different way. It's like you need to get inside access to how they created their theory. I don't know how that would be, though. I live in Texas, but would love to move back to the Jersey Shore or South Carolina. That's where I live, Jersey Shore. Needing to, I almost want to say, like, either find a job. It's like needing to figure out everything in the other place of how it could unfold before you start to put in the planning or action steps. It is possible, but I feel like whatever plans you have right now is not leading you in that direction. So needing to kind of reevaluate. I'm almost wondering if there's someone you know in one of these places that could help kind of get you in the door of either a job or like housing. Like there's somebody that could help you get your planning strategies to where that could unfold more naturally. It is possible, but it doesn't feel like right now the trajectory is heading that way. Will I sell my house this spring? I'm not seeing it happening this spring. Do we have an answer for the house selling? Spring. Will it be after springtime? Will it be summertime? Will it be by the end of the year? I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a delay from spring. Almost feeling like the end of summer would be the earliest, but between then and the end of the year. Granddaughter, 14. I adore her. She's been in bad situations the past couple of years at school. CP bid in December caused school change. A's to F's. How can I help her with what she needs? It feels like she's struggling with knowing who she is or where she's supposed to fit in certain situations. Starting to, how do I word this? She needs to get excited about the way that it used to make her feel to be intellectually challenged. It feels like there's so many other challenges that where she used to enjoy being intellectually challenged, now it just is looked at as another challenge instead of like a fun challenge. It feels like needing clarity about different methods of processing emotions that right now she's not facing. Almost like, how old? 14. She needs an outlet. Like right now, emotionally, energetically, she's at the bottom of the well. This is an example I give sometimes. Like you're at the bottom of a hole and she has a rope, right? So she could climb out, but she needs something above to tie the rope to so that she can pull herself up out of this hypothetical hole. She needs to find something outside of herself to reprogram herself to see herself as worthy. It feels like she is struggling right now with, where do I fit, and should I just kind of disappear into myself? So finding something to tie that rope to above ground so she can pull herself out of the energetic hole she feels she's in. It feels like she enjoys learning, though. So it's not necessarily that she doesn't like learning. It's just that right now she has enough challenges that the intellectual challenge is being misinterpreted as a bad challenge, if that makes sense. Should I study astrology or Reiki? It feels like first Reiki would be better if you're choosing between the two. Almost like that will give you the foundation to connect the dots when it comes to astrology in a way that you can translate better, if that makes sense. Almost like there's certain things that you'll learn in Reiki that help you deeper understand astrology if you do decide to do that as well. But I am seeing Reiki being something that would be a good beginner or first or next step for you. I'm going to do one more. I have no idea where I'm at. Any messages for my sister's husband, David, from his mom or brother? There's something that he, from David, from mom or brother. This is brother. There's something that he's questioning if he's reading correctly, but he's reading it correctly. And there's also a bit of, I guess you could say, a door opening. He's questioning himself about reading something correctly or interpreting something correctly, and he's correct in it. And there's also, I almost feel like they've been trying to show him signs or messages that he hasn't been recognizing. And it basically has been to confirm whatever this is that he's reading correctly. To help him move forward and regain control. It's almost like they're trying to help him learn how to trust his discernment more. We will be together again, so they're together. It wasn't just a dream. Yes, we really encountered each other in the dream realm. Yeah, that's what this is. It's like they've been trying to show him that he's reading something correctly to unstuck himself and take back his power in some way. My Way by Frank Sinatra. I feel like that's from his mom. Think of what would she do in this situation, or what would she guide him to do, if that makes sense. All right, everyone, I'm going to hop off. Today's Friday, right? I'll be on Monday or Tuesday for another members live. I'll post the schedule. Also, I'm going to be posting a video today at some point for the 30K that was really loud. For the 30K readings, I'm going to do 1 20-minute reading, 2 10-minute readings, and 3 5-minute readings. So I'll post that video a little bit later. You'll just have to comment to be on the list. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and I will talk to you soon.